I won't run from the question. I hold on to the pain. What I lose means nothing next to what I gain. Come tear down every idol, so this heart won't go astray. Don't let me stray. Come on now. I just wanna be safe to really play. Praise and mercy, everything is gonna be. Let it fall on the threshing floor. Everything that's between you and me, Lord. You and me, Lord. Let it fall on the threshing floor. Everything that's between you and me, Lord. You and me, Lord. I just wanna be safe to where we pray. I won't run from the crushing. I hold on to the pain. What I lose means nothing next to what I gain. Come tear down on every idol, so this heart won't go astray. Don't let me stray. 'Cause I just wanna be sanctuary, dwelling place, grace and mercy keeps it to me. But everything is on the pressing floor. Falling, falling, pressing floor. Everything that's between you and me, Lord. Let it fall on the pressing floor. Everything that's between you and me, Lord. with me, Lord. Sing it again tonight. All of the blessing, everything that we bring you, you and me, I just want to be a sanctuary, dwelling place for grace and mercy. Keeps everything is on the threshing floor. Keep shifting me. Everything is on the threshing floor. Shout to him tonight, oh, the praise. Keep shifting me. Everything is on the threshing floor. Let it fall on the threshing floor. Everything that's between you and me, Lord. You and me, Lord. Let it fall on the threshing floor. Everything that's between you and me, Lord. You and me, Lord. 'Cause I just want to be sanctuary, dwelling place for grace and mercy. Keep shifting me. Everything is on the threshing floor. Keep shifting me. Everything is on the threshing I've been singing it for days. If I know a name that can silence your rain away, yes. I know a name, it's the only thing that saves. I know a name that can empty out the grave. And it's worthy of all praise. Jesus, I call you, I call you. Something comes out of the grave. Every time I call Jesus, I call you Savior, worthy of glory forever. Something comes out of the grave. Every time I call you. Every time I call you. Moment, nothing can replace. When heaven and earth meet face to face, broken hearts begin to change. Word takes on flesh, the soul finds faith. Where the young and feet are satisfied, the unknown scars, they're reconciled. Open door to brand new life, but close in the presence of my Savior. I just wanna be in the room, wanna be in the room when you move. I'm not leaving you. I just wanna be in the room, wanna be in the room when you move. I'm not leaving you. Wanna see the blind receive their sight. Hear the praise of the voiceless start to rise. Every child of God baptized me high. Right here in the presence of our healer. Wanna be in the room, wanna be in the room when you move. I'm not leaving to you. I just wanna be in the room, wanna be in the room when you move. I'm not leaving to you. I just wanna be in the room, wanna be in the room when you move. And I'm not leaving you. I just wanna be in the room, wanna be in the room when you move. I'm not leaving you. She just keeps on walking. What are we throwing? Maybe I need to throw something.
Purse or bag or backpack, I'm not real sure what that is. Purse.
I mean, that luggage rack over there.
I mean, I'm not even sure that works as a carry-on bag.
Right.
How's everybody tonight?
Woo! Wonderful. Glad I'm warm.
Bye.
I am just gonna say that, and I'm not gonna go into it, but man, if you didn't feel that, then your feelers broke.
Your clappers broke.
I normally try to sing with them and listen, I couldn't even get that one part out. Dead things come alive, like I couldn't even get it out. I about lost it.
Been
So,
singing it for days.
started thinking about all the, we talk about things being dead or past, the old us and things of that nature. But man, when you truly allow yourself to die to your old self, to crucify your old self, the things that come alive that God put there from the very beginning of time that the enemy has suffered out. Oh my gosh.
I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
Tired of it.
Yeah.
Tired of it.
Too long. Does anybody got praise? What? Oh. I look at her and she's going, and I'm like, what? You about to hear? I mean, you're gonna explode if you don't get that out. Now, has anybody got a praise tonight before we get started?
I thank God for a warm home
Yes.
and clothing to put on and shoes and a coat. Cause I know there's a lot of people that's out in this that does not have it.
Yep.
And I praise him for heat.
Amen.
Amen.
I want to thank the Lord that I work inside. I'm not working out in the cold in the elements, that I'm able to get back and forth to work. I don't have a heater in my car, but I do have a blanket, and I'm able to keep warm. And I ain't gonna lie, I got to work this morning and I opened up my lunch that my wife fixes for me nearly every day. And I opened it up. This is Wednesday. This is like tomorrow will be a week. I opened it up and I saw turkey and dressing and mashed potatoes. And I said, oh man. Oh, it's chicken. Okay. My bad.
You don't even know what you had.
My bad. But for a split second when I opened it up, I was like, oh man. And then I was like, you know what? I openly said, I'm not going to complain. I have something to eat. Thank God we have leftovers. That means we had a big meal. Again, I thank God that I work in a place that doesn't kill me, and so I'm thankful for my job, those that I work with. I'm very thankful.
It was rotisserie chicken.
Okay.
And we don't waste.
Excuse me, it tasted like turkey. My bad.
We don't waste.
No, we don't. Try not to.
Somebody else? Yes.
I'm thankful for the wood stove that's working in my house. That's gonna save me a lot of money on my electric bill.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that's why, man, listen, when they remodeled the house, our house, well, it's Tiffany's house first, but when they remodeled it, they took the fireplace out. And I'm like, why would you do that? Why? Bring it back. I mean, sure, you might have to, put up a little bit more work instead of just going and pushing a button, but man, it'd be so worth it. Anyway.
I digress.
Yes.
I also want to thank God for my job and that I'm not out in the cold. Why? What did she just turn
I don't
around
know.
like that? But no, and even as I get more and more into my job and I learn more and more things, I realize that this job is teaching me a lot more than just how to be a table operator. And I want to thank God for that.
Amen.
And I thank God that He's moving me, around, and yeah, I'm just thankful.
Amen. Somebody else?
I did tell the Lord yesterday morning, anybody knows me knows I don't care for winter. I don't like the cold and I don't like the snow and ice. And I was on my way to work and I was griping because it's slick outside and I'm afraid of falling, afraid of driving on it. But driving down the road, seeing that snow in the trees, this snow has been the most beautiful. Far as on the trees and out in the fields and the fences and things, it's like a postcard. And I did tell the Lord, I said, Lord, I know I complain about winter all the time, but I will give you that. You create a beautiful picture with it. And for that, I will say I'm thankful.
Somebody else?
Oh, I'm thankful that in, I guess, a few days' time, or whenever they get it turned in, that me and Jason will be legally married.
After a month.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I want to thank God that it was actually I didn't get a chance to Sunday, but I want to thank God that last Saturday, a really good friend of mine who I used to do a lot of running around with, he's more like a brother to me. I want to thank God that he came down from Louisville and he got to come down, sit at the house. We sat for what, a couple of hours, I guess, and got to talk and to see the change in him.
Bless him. Come on.
Really touched my heart. Really, really touched my heart. And it's and I don't try to take away from anyone that comes to Christ. I don't try to take away from anyone that changes. But when you know somebody,
Come on.
and who they used to be, and he usually watches Wednesday night. So if you're watching, I love you, bro, for real. But he came in, and I will not tell his story. As a matter of fact, I talked to him. He's going to be praying about it, and talked to Brother Steve about it. He might be coming to give his story sometime here in a few weeks. Next time he's in, and I'm going to tell you, most of y'all in here know my story. Y'all have heard my story, and I'm in my opinion, I don't think I can hold much of a match to his. He's younger than me, but he's been through some things, like for real. And so, Lord willing, man, y'all gonna get to hear his story sometime. But the one thing I do want to point out is that when he come in, Brother Steve and Sister Sharon was there. I was cutting his hair, and Tiffany was dyeing Sharon's hair, and they got ready to leave, and he sent me a text. It was like, "Bro, I'm on the way." He said, "I'll be there in a few minutes." I was like, "Man, y'all gotta wait just a minute. I want y'all to meet this dude." And I'd already been talking with him some on Messenger and everything, and he comes in, and first of all, man, I was appalled by just how his demeanor, his looks, everything was. And then when he comes in, I've always called him Punch. And so when he come in, I introduced him as Punch. And Brother Steve was like, "What are you calling him? Punch? And I was like, and James said, "No, he's calling me Punch." He said, "That's what he's always called me. That's what they used to call me, but that's old me." He said, "I'm James." Listen, y'all know how I am. It
Come on.
just,
Bless him, Lord.
yeah.
He said he loves you too, brother.
I don't know, something just got started in me last weekend, man, when I seen that. I got to sit and talk with him and, oh, man. Anyway, I gotta move on, so I'll tell that story. This is so good, man, just some of the stuff he said and told me, like, you can't make that stuff up for real. All right. We made it through chapter 5. We're going into chapter 6, and I don't know how far we're going to get, but I will tell you this. I know even if we get there, I know where I'm stopping. I don't care if it only takes us 10 minutes. I know where I'm stopping tonight, and I'll explain why when we get there. Well, I'll just go ahead and tell you. We are going to stop at everybody calls it the Lord's Prayer. I call it the model prayer. We are going to stop there. Regardless of how fast we get there, we're stopping there because I want to make sure that we really dig in to prayer. That is our communication. That is our conversation. That is our connection with God. That is how we connect, and that's how we correspond. That's how we talk and communicate. And it's one of them things I just took for granted growing up in church all my life, knowing the word, that I've heard so many people over the last few years say, I don't know how to pray.
Yes.
And listen, if you don't know how to pray, I know we're on 3 different platforms tonight. Listen, if you don't know how to pray, this is where you need to be. You need to be in Matthew chapter 6. Go in. Jesus gives a model prayer. Make sure you're here next week. It's not that I have all the answers or anybody here has all the answers, but that's why we're doing it all together. We'll get into that later, but right now I do want to read. We'll read Matthew 6. I'm going to start off.
55. I said Matthew 5, verse 1.
Yeah.
If you're going to do prayer, I don't think we need to go past verse 4 because it all runs together.
Let's do that. That's what I was looking at. Yeah, let's do that. Let's just read 1 through 4, and then we're going to come back next week and go into the prayer and all of that. Because there's a lot. Even in verses 4 and 5, man, there's a whole lot. Just in them, or in 5 and 6, I'm sorry. There's a lot in them before he even gets into the actual model of the prayer. So let's read 1 through 4, and we'll see what we get from it. I've got quite a bit. Matthew chapter 6, verse 1 says, "Take heed that you do not your alms before men to be seen of them. Otherwise ye have no reward of your Father which is in heaven. Therefore, when thou doest thine alms, do not sound a trumpet before thee, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and in the streets, that they may have glory of men. Verily I say unto you that they have their reward. But when thou doest alms, let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth, that thine alms may be in secret, and thy Father, which seeth in secret himself, shall reward thee openly." I've got a lot. I'm gonna let y'all go first. Who wants to start us out? You want to start it?
I've got this verse warns against practicing acts of righteousness, such as giving or praying for the purpose of being seen or praised by others. This verse states that if a person performs good deeds to get human approval, they will have no heavenly reward from God for their actions. The key takeaway is that the motive behind the action is more important than the action. itself and true righteousness is done with sincerity for God, not for public recognition. It's a caution against hypocrisy and seeking human attention for religious acts.
Somebody else?
She said a lot of what I have. She just said it a lot better than I did.
We'll say it anyway.
Right. So, first off, these 4 verses are very, like, I don't want to say near and dear, but like I've always taken a liking to these verses. I've always used these verses in my, like, I've never really been able to quote them per se, but I try to live my life as we should. But I really focus on this. But so, of course, I have Strong's, but I'm gonna kind of gloss over a little bit. But when he goes to, I looked up what the meaning of alms was. It was compassionateness, benefaction, and or deeds. Reward in this specific verse means a pay for service, good or bad, reward or wages. So I thought that a long time that this was actually meant like salvation, but it does not. And then I grouped 1 and 2 together. So it says, when thou doest, or should I read the whole verse? I'm all over.
Do whatever you do, man.
All right. So it says, take heed that you do not your alms before men to be seen of them. Otherwise, you have no reward of your Father which is in heaven. Therefore, when thou doest thine alms, do not sound a trumpet. This part really like stuck out to me because I remember, I've never read it anywhere. I didn't really look it up, but I know that in like old timey battles, they used to have guys that would blow a trumpet, and all I could think of was everybody looking at it, everybody hearing it, paying attention to it, and usually it meant like a command was coming or something. So it's in a way it's to draw attention, which of course, but that's what stuck out is that you blow a trumpet to draw attention to yourself, and then as the hypocrites do. And then hypocrites under this specific verse means an actor under an assumed character or a stage play. And then I went in and added my own like little bit. It says the Pharisees and Sadducees, when Jesus is saying this, that they are nothing more than stage players, nothing more than people performing a role, just faking it. As they do in the synagogues and in the streets, that they may have glory of men. Verily, I say unto you, they have their reward. And then this is where I start. This is not condemning doing good by people. This is about doing these things in the right mindset. What intention matters more than admiration. Intention matters most. Are you doing it so God is glorified, or are you doing it so you are? Sorry, that was like that.
You're good. You're good. Somebody else?
One of the things that struck me when I was studying this, because I was looking up the word alms, and that was, I actually had to go to the actual dictionary to get a better definition because Strong's just kind of kept repeating the same. But it is something freely given to relieve the poor or someone in need, such as money, food, etc. So alms, when he mentions here, is giving to the poor. That does not include your offerings,
right,
or your tithes. So this is extra, that you do. And I think you said you probably will cover it, but it was pretty much Jewish law that you had to take care of. It was almost required that you took care of the poor. Now, one of the things that I read said that the majority of the people in Jesus' day were all poor. They were all poor.
Yes.
But it depends, again, it kind of goes with each one of us. It depends on your mindset on how poor you think you really are.
Yeah.
When I look at my life, I don't live in a mansion. I don't drive a brand new car. but I'm not poor.
Right.
I am not poor. I have a roof over my head. I have 2 cars, 2 motorcycles. I have everything that I could possibly want. And so I'm not poor. Now, according to the world standards, I'm poor.
Yeah.
But according to the way I've been blessed, I am by far poor. I am blessed and highly favored, and I am well aware.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. You said the word. Derek said the word in the definition, and you just basically described what benefaction is. Benefaction is a gift or a donation. And when you look at the alms, they go back to the Mosaic Law. And in the Mosaic Law, we talked about it in chapter 5. I didn't actually cover it in here, but I am reminded that in chapter 5, when it talks about, take care of those, don't deny them when people come to borrow something. It's because it's usually the less fortunate. But the Pharisees, just like everything else they done, they took it and twisted it and made it into their own way, and took it actually away from what the original meaning was supposed to be. And so, but the first thing, and I actually heard you say this, Brother Steve say this last night when he was on live. Not in specific about this specific verse, but something nobody has pointed out tonight. And the very first thing I want to point out, it never says if.
Right.
It never says if.
No.
It says when.
On either 3, it's
No.
always when.
Yep. He says whenever you do, whenever you give alms, whenever you give a donation, whenever you give a gift to the poor. Now, and like what Brother Steve said, yes, in Jesus' days, if you look up and see about like the beggars and stuff, beggars were very was prevalent the right word?
Yes.
Prominent, dominant. There were more beggars in the time of Jesus' day because of the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire, not only did they have such a high tax rate, but then, like we learned last week or a couple weeks ago, whenever it was, that the Jewish tax collectors that were working for the Roman Empire were also fattening their pockets. So not only were you paying the Roman Empire, but you were also paying extra. So people lost their land, they lost everything, and so it was very, very common. And actually most of your Jewish people were poor. They didn't have anything.
A lot of your work also, I mean, it wasn't like we are where we know we're going to get up every day and go to work.
Right.
Most of their work was seasonal.
Yes.
Because of farming and all
fishermen
of that.
And
yeah. And so a lot of that was seasonal.
Yes.
So you didn't know a lot of times when it talks about when Jesus went out and offered the men a penny if they worked for him a day. That's because there was a lot of times men would stand out looking for a job and not necessarily wanting a handout.
Right.
But looking for a way to be able to feed their family.
Yep. So I wrote down where the beggars usually were. I mean, I'm going to tell you, I don't remember why I wrote it down now, but I've got it wrote down, so I'm just going to read it. It says, in that time, most of the places that you would see the beggars, and there were 2 reasons for beggars. Not only were they poor, not only were they didn't have anything because of the tax and all that stuff, or lack of work. There was a lot of also due to bad medical what's the word I'm looking for? But
physical ailments.
Yeah, physical ailments, and they couldn't afford to go to the doctor. They couldn't afford to pay a physicist or whatever you call them, physician. There you go. Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, that don't even sound right. What is a physician? No, never mind. Just tell me after church. Y'all can teach me. Oh yeah, they're like a scientist or something, ain't they? Oh, okay. Yeah, we don't. Anyway, They couldn't afford to go to a doctor. Let's just keep it simple. They couldn't afford to go to a doctor. So a lot of them, it wasn't that they didn't want to work. They couldn't. They weren't physically able. So they had no choice but to rely on people. I mean, they didn't have welfare and food stamps and stuff like that back then. So they had to rely on people. And again, goes back to the Mosaic law when when God gave the command through Moses that anybody within their community, if they needed something, give it to them. Don't let them do without. Take care of each other. And that's what God's people are supposed to do. Now, listen, I understand there is a part in Scripture that talks about, go sell your stuff and, take care of each other. I'm not saying do that. I'm not saying go sell.
Unless God tells you to.
Yeah, now unless God tells you to, or if you got a nice truck or something, Matt, and you want to sell it to me for $20, I got you, bro. I got you. I will help you out. No, but so it's not an if, it's when. And like Brother Steve pointed out a while ago, this is not considered tithes.
No.
And alms is not tithes. As a matter of fact, and I went through and I'll get to it in a minute, but went through the trumpet because I couldn't understand that, and everything that I read for a week was just talking about figuratively. And by all means, I do believe in a figurative sense, and I will touch on that in a little bit. But it was also a literal sense.
Yes.
In the Jewish synagogues, in the customs of the Jewish culture, there were what they called trumpets, alms boxes or poor boxes inside the synagogue. There were actually 13 inside the synagogue, and they were brass. Things that were in the shape of a trumpet, meaning that it was bigger on the bottom end, and it would basically come up in a neck, and it would have a smaller top that you put your coins in. And so when you put your coins, you would drop your coins inside this trumpet into the alms box. It would sound off in the synagogues. Think about it. Have you ever been? Think about a gymnasium. You ever go into a gymnasium and there's not a lot of people there and it's not real crowded and everything echoes. Everything echoes. Or go in a basement somewhere that's not finished. Or you ever cleaned out a bedroom that's got hardwood floor or laminate flooring and everything echoes in that bedroom until you get your bed in or maybe an area rug and get clothes in the closet. It echoes. So these big brass, what they would call trumpet-like cylinders, when they dropped their money in it, it would sound off as a trumpet. And it was their custom that when they would go to the synagogues for prayer, it was custom that they would drop into alms, one of the 13 alms poor boxes, on their way in to have prayer. So that means that everybody was coming in that was going to pray. So then if I walk over here, now that everybody's here, and I'm watching, boom, everybody knows that I put money in it. Everybody knew I just put money in that. So they were singing. That was just one of the things that really stuck out to me. And so it was like, Jesus tells them, don't be seen about it. And if you want to look up, even Jesus I know I wrote that down. Well, maybe I didn't. It's in the Gospels. It's in Mark. I thought I wrote it down for Mark. I guess I didn't. When Jesus was sitting in, and y'all will know the story. It said when Jesus was sitting in the treasury of the synagogue, and everybody was coming in and putting their money in the boxes, but the woman came with two mites. 2 mites. There you go. 2 mites. Well, I kept wanting to say mints, and I was like, no, it's not mints. 2 mites, and he said that she gave more than any of them. So that lets you know that these things were in the synagogues. Jesus was in there watching them put the money in. You can go read that in Mark. I know it's in Luke. I don't remember what chapter. I thought I wrote it down, but I didn't. So well, I got to read because I talked so much that I've done said half of the stuff that I've wrote. So I got to catch back up. Yeah, one of the places that because I forgot I got sidetracked. I was going to tell y'all where the beggars were, and I never did. Was they would sit next to the city gates. They would sit next to the city gates near the gates of the temple and the synagogues in Jerusalem, or in the vicinity of rich men's homes. But they would be, that's where they would sit. So they would even sit close to the church, basically. They would sit at the church, hoping somebody would come by and give them something. All right. So this is what I want to, and I've got some more about the secret stuff in a minute, but now I want to flip it. Okay. Is everybody understanding what he's talking about giving alms and the trumpets? I mean, seriously, if anybody's got any questions, please ask. So now that we know about what it was back then, what about today? What about today's time? How many trumpets do you see on social media being blown? If you have to record, and listen, I don't care what platform yours is, and as a matter of fact, I hope you share it. Because if you have to record yourself giving people money that are less fortunate, or to the homeless, or doing these great things, then you don't want to help that person in the first place. You're doing it for likes, for shares, and to gain for yourself. Cancel me if you want to.
Cash in my side.
But it's so pathetic that that people do that. Listen, God bless the ones that are getting the stuff given to them. By all means. But we spent an entire chapter in chapter 5 talking about heart posture.
Yes.
Everything was about heart posture, getting your heart posture right. Not letting your righteousness become as the Pharisees' righteousness, which was only outward. Everything that he talked about was all inward in chapter 5. Now he's talking about outward and intention, and the other word I was looking for, and I done lost it.
Motivation.
Yeah, motivation, intention, what drives you to do what you're doing. And what I want to share you is there was a dad actually, and this had even nothing to do with this lesson. A couple weeks ago, Dad was telling me about something that he run across, and he thought it was really awesome, and he wanted to share it, tell me about it. And I don't know where this took place. Somewhere in this country, I don't know. But for years, there was this cop that would drive around, and he would pull people over just at random. He would cover his name tag up on his uniform where you couldn't see his name. He would pull them over for no reason whatsoever, and he'd walk up to the car, and I think Dad said it was a $100 bill. You look like you've read that. It was $100. He would give them money, and he would go get back in his car, and he would leave. For a long time, he did this, and finally, somebody that he did this for shared it. on social media. Still to this day, nobody knows this man's name. To this day, nobody knows who he is. He never done it to people that he knew, obviously, because he didn't want people to put him out there. It's not what he was doing it for. To me, that man's got a reward. That man has a reward from God waiting for him. And I guarantee you this. I would guarantee you this is that God has blessed that man abundantly for everything that he's done already. And yes, I know some of your social media gurus and clowns that go out and record themselves doing this. Yes, I know if you get so many followers and all this stuff, especially on certain platforms, I do understand that, yeah, you get paid for that. That's how a lot of these, whatever, I don't even know what you call them. There you go. That's how some of these content creators are able to go out and buy these brand new $200,000 cars and destroy them. It's not because they come from money. It's because they make money off of doing it. They get paid for that. It becomes a job. So yeah, they might feel like they're getting blessed, but we talked about that a couple weeks ago. That money that they're receiving to be able to go out and do this stuff because they're recording themselves go out and give and getting so many more people to send whatever. Listen, man, that's dirty money. It's not good money. There's a curse with that one.
Yes, sir.
It says in verse 4, it says, that thine alms may be in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret himself I can never say that word, reward thee openly. Gotta slow down. Why else would you think that he says to do it in secret? This is why do you think? I've got my opinion. What I'm going to share.
The other way is in pride, and the secret is in him.
Yep.
Because he hates pride.
Hates pride.
I also think that it's more sincere. You actually mean it.
Yeah.
Because you don't do something in secret if you don't actually do it.
Right.
Because nobody will know.
That's right.
It's just like breaking.
You know what else I think? Which I think it is 100%, 110% accurate. Absolutely. He hates pride.
He doesn't like boasters.
You don't like boasters.
I think it's just me. I think
Loud for the deaf people. Loud for the deaf people.
I think for me is, I think it's supposed to, well, it says that people see our good works and glorify him.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we get glorified or we get put on a platform or whatever, it is taking away from the fact that it was him, which is exactly what Satan tried to do. So I think it's not about doing it to make ourselves look good, but doing it and being his hands and feet. And if your intent's not that, if he doesn't get the glory, then it's all in vain.
It also shows who you're doing it for.
Yep. You kind of answered my question before I got a chance to ask it. Because I was fixing to ask, well, ain't that contradictory in chapter 5 when it says, let your good works be seen of men to glorify your Father. This is different. You know what else I think? And this is just my opinion. This is something that came to me yesterday while I was going back over and reading a bunch of this again. You know what else I think? How hard is it? You know beggars were actually really looked down on. They were really looked down on already.
Poor today are looked down on.
The poor today, the less fortunate today, are looked down on. So what do you think that does for that person's pride? And not pride as a bad pride. Listen, self-esteem. What do you think that does for their self-esteem? What do you think that does to their integrity? When you want to publicize them being less fortunate and gloat that you've got the means to help them or do something for them. So not only are you idolizing yourself, putting yourself in God's place of praise and worship, but now you're also driving someone into the ground. And what did Jesus say? When you do what? When you feed the poor? When you give somebody something, you've done all these things that you've done, when you go visit them in the prison. He said, that was me. You've done that for me. So when you do it from a self-righteous standpoint, well, you're being a Pharisee, you're being an actor. You have hidden motive, not a motive to actually. One of the very first part of the definition that Derek gave for alms was compassionateness. To give compassionately from your heart. It's not about your pocket. It ain't about your bank, and it ain't about your billfold or your pantry, or it ain't about none of that. We just spent a whole chapter on heart posture. And the very first thing he comes out with in chapter 6 is that outward expression of that heart posture. So to me, when you do these things in secret, and let me throw this out there too, because sometimes, and I've seen this, and I've had it done to me, and I'm going to tell you, it makes me never want to take such, and matter of fact, I won't. I would go hungry before I would accept help from certain people. And I know that might be a pride thing, and if it is, God take it from me, but I'm going to tell you why. Because they want to do this with it. I did that for you. You remember I did that for you? Now you're indebted to me. They want to hold it over your head. They want to remind you of it every chance they get too. They might not tell the world. They might not have done it publicly, but now they're using it as leverage. And I'm going to tell you, if you do it, listen. If you give somebody something, I don't care if it's money, I don't care if it's food, I don't care if it's a ride, I don't care if it's your car, I don't care if it's your house, I don't care what it is. Whatever God lays on your heart to give to them, then guess what? That's not yours no more. That's theirs. Period. Don't matter. Listen, if they go and do wrong with it, that's between them and God. If they go and do the god-awfulest thing with whatever it is you give them, listen, it might make you mad. It make me mad. Certain things. But you know what? I did what I was supposed to do. And if you do that, you did what you were supposed to do. That's between them and God. You got to make sure your heart's right with God. And in order to do that, you have to do what God tells you to do. And listen, I'm going to tell you, I I know that I've done things and give people rides and done things for people that I knew without a doubt what was going to take place. I knew where they were going to go, and I knew what they were going to do. But God said, do it. And I've done it. I had a conversation with Derek. This whole first four verses, the whole time I was reading, I was thinking about Derek, because Derek is the one. And I'm not saying he's the only one, and I'm not trying to put him out there and expose him and do all this stuff, but Derek is one that if he sees somebody standing on the side of the road, it's a sign. If he's got something, he's giving it. And if he don't, he'll go try to get it and come back. That's how he is. I mean, him had a conversation one day, and I said, of course, I was telling him, man, you gotta be careful about that. He was like, man, I know, but unless God tells me no, then this is what I'm gonna do. He said, it's in my heart. I said, you do what you do. Me, on the other hand, I want to think about things too much, and I want to strategize, and I shouldn't.
What it boils down to is we want to see if that person is worthy. Back several years ago, we attended a church, and at the first of every month, because that's, everybody, there's a lot of people that struggle, even worse now, but first of the month, this church would get volunteers, and somebody would bring a dozen of eggs, and somebody would bring a gallon of milk, and somebody would bring some flour and some sugar, and we'd put it all together, and we'd reach out and we'd find somebody to give it to. And we did that for several months. It wasn't hard to find somebody to give it to. And our church was enjoying it so much that I attended another church for revival, and I was telling them, what all we were doing and the success and how much we were enjoying it. And the deacon said, oh, we'd never do that here. And I said, why? They said, because anybody that would give that gallon of milk or that egg, they would want to know if the people that we were actually giving them, well, did they have a job, and why didn't they have a job, and why wasn't they working, and why wasn't they? And so basically they would have to fill out an application. So that's our issue. We want to know that people are worthy of what we're going to give them. So what I try to remember is, if there's money in my bank account, it's not my money.
That's right.
God gave me that.
Yep.
And I'm supposed to be a good steward of that. Not only just what I give him, but what he allows me to have. God give me a house, I have to be a good steward of that.
Yep.
God's give me a job, I have to be a good steward of that. The only reason I have a job, the only reason I have a house, the only reason I have a car, the only reason I have a wonderful marriage is because God gave me that. And I have to do my best to steward what he's given me.
Yep.
It's not mine. And if he asks for it back, I have to give it to him.
Yep.
Because it don't belong to me.
That's right. Everything that we have is borrowed from God.
Yes.
Everything.
But I have discovered, if he asks for it and you give it to him, he always gives you something better in return.
Yep.
Always something better in return.
Yep.
Well, even Jesus himself, when he would perform miracles and all that, he didn't boast that for everybody. He would go off in secret to pray. When he would go to cast out a devil, they would go to hollering at him, the devils would, he'd tell them, shut up. In other words, be quiet, I don't want everybody to see this. So even himself, other than maybe when he raised Lazarus, he hollered out Lazarus, but even the miracle worker, he didn't go around screaming for the whole hillside to see. So if he does it,
I wrote down that says, doing the right thing for the wrong reason is wrong. It's not right.
That's right.
And it's not righteousness. I used to say sometimes doing the wrong thing is right, Or there's a right way to do wrong and a wrong way to do right. There you go. There was a wrong way to do right and a right way to do wrong. You get me? Huh?
So I bet that's a lot.
To get that out?
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is one of them situations to where there is a wrong way to do right. That giving for self-righteousness, to build yourself up, build your name up, to make it good. You know what? And I'm gonna say this, but doing that is that's the Pharisees type of righteousness. It's not a godly righteousness. And I'm gonna say this is from what I've been reading, and you know y'all gonna catch this as soon as I say it. I wished I would have studied this Sermon on the Mount before I taught the armor of God. How do you wear the breastplate of righteousness? He's telling us.
Yep.
It's not just God give me your righteousness. No, he's telling us how to get it.
Yes.
He's telling us how to live it. He's telling us how to wear it right here.
Yep.
This is true righteousness. True righteousness. Does anybody got anything on these first 4 verses?
I had one other thing that I had read that said, we must not within ourselves take notice too much of the good we do. When we take the least notice of our good deeds ourselves, God takes the most notice of them. So the more that we don't notice, the more he does. And I'd much rather him pay attention than the world anyway.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Anybody else? Got anything?
It's not much. Mine just basically says, don't do it for the wrong reasons. Do it because you have the compassion and the love of God.
Right. That's right. And listen, if that's something that you lack, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm praying this prayer. And if you don't know how to pray, tune in next week. We'll hopefully help you. But yeah. But seriously, if that's something that you lack, because listen, I know, and I'm not as bad as I used to be, but I used to lack a lot of compassion for people. I was one of them that you had to earn that from me. You had to prove yourself worthy for me to have compassion for. And, you know, strangers, you know, if I know you, then that's different. But, you know, we shouldn't be like that. As a matter of fact, Jesus said that they will know you are my disciples by your love. To love people. He said it's the 2 greatest commandments: love God, love people. You know yourself is never in none of that. Me is never in none of them commandments. Me, I love God, love people. It's nothing about ourselves.
Till you get the true love of God, you'll never love people.
That's right. Well, you can't. You can't. God is love. That's right. You can't give something you don't have. And if you don't have God, you do not have true love. Generosity, this is my last statement. Generosity should never become a performance. Should never be a performance. We should not be performing, no matter what we do. No matter what we do, performance is not it's not an option when it comes to God. So, nobody else? All right, nobody else? Anybody got any questions, any thoughts? All right, I'm challenging y'all for next week. I wrote it down. So it has to happen.
There you go.
I want to challenge y'all for real. And then whatever you're watching me on, I'm challenging you too. Go in, Matthew chapter 6. Obviously, we got a couple verses before we actually get to the Lord's Prayer, to the model prayer that he shares, gives us to. But so obviously I want y'all to look into that, study on that, give me some thoughts on that. But I want you to go in, starts in verse 9 through, 13? Yeah, 13. Matthew chapter 6, verse 9 through 13 gives you the model prayer. This is what I want you to do. I was going to give y'all like a quick disclaimer on the breakdown of it, but I'm not tonight. What I want you to do, make it personal for you. I want you to go home this week. I'm doing it too. I want you to go home this week. It don't have to be nothing extravagant. It doesn't have to be all 10 pages long. I just want you to make a simple prayer, personalized, off of the model that Jesus gives us, and write it down. And I want you to bring it back next week. Just something, don't have to be, listen, you don't have to come in here and have your, I don't even know if I'm gonna ask y'all to read them yet. I just know I felt yesterday when I was sitting at Tiffany's desk, studying and praying, I felt like, I felt this, that I don't know what we're gonna do with them. I might not even ask you to look at them, read them or nothing, might just tell you to go home with them. This might just be something for each one of us to do personally, but okay, so Jesus gives us what the Lord's Prayer is, right? Okay. Without going into the study of it, that was not he didn't give it to recite that. To recite it, listen, I'm not gonna say that it's a bad thing to recite that prayer. Especially if somebody don't know how to pray. Okay. I'm not gonna say it's a bad thing, but that's not what he gave that for. It's not to recite word for word. It is a base model to break down the prayer. Go in and study the prayer, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, if you got any questions, just holler. You already know. If you got any questions after you study, then holler at me. I learned, but I want you to make it personal. It don't have to be nothing extravagant. It don't have to be nothing major, but make it personal between you and him, based off of that model. If you're watching, do it. He's watching. He is. All right. That's all I got. Anybody else got anything before we close out?
Y'all remember me and Derek Saturday? We are going to be in Lexington, so pray that we have safe travel.
Now pray for me and Tiffany tomorrow. We're taking someone to Nashville. We're leaving Nashville. Got to go back to Lewisburg. I always want to say Lewisport. Where's Lewisport?
Lewisport's hospital.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Lewisburg. I'm gonna get to give my story tomorrow night at Celebrate Recovery up there. But then when we leave there, then we got to go back to Nashville. So pray for us while we're on the road tomorrow. Pray for me that God will use me tomorrow night to be able to touch someone, show somebody that God can. Sunday. Is it this Sunday? Dinner? No,
Next Sunday,
The next Sunday.
okay,
the 14th.
The 14th?
Yes.
Okay, the 14th, don't forget, not this coming Sunday, but the Sunday after. Why do I feel like there's something going on this Sunday?
I thought the same thing.
Well, come prepared Sunday, just saying. I've been thinking all week that there was something happening this Sunday, so come ready. Yes.
New Year's Eve,
Hmm.
our house, 6:30.
Okay, New Year's Eve, 6:30, we'll start whenever everybody gets there, but, we'll have everybody over at our house, anybody that wants to be there.
We're gonna have food, games, Bible study, pray the whole year out, and then New Year's.
Yeah, we'll have some music and just kind of a fun time, hopefully.
13th, women's breakfast, 9 o'clock at Hobbies if you wanna come. And then the 14th will be our church Christmas/Thanksgiving dinner. List is on the table if you've not wrote down anything, bring.
Well,
You might have been thinking of the 13th. It's Sharon's Christmas.
no, I was thinking Sunday, for some reason I was just thinking about,
Remember the 7th,
is
that's
what,
Sunday.
Huh?
That's what Sunday date is.
well, that ain't gonna help me.
Remember us Friday, my husband is taking me to the Ark.
Yep.
To see the lights.
Yeah, we in prayer for
Pray
them
for
for
safe travels, pray that the weather don't do nothing.
I don't think, as of now, it's not supposed to, so.
Pray for us, boo-boo in our house. Pray for boo-boo. We get there with Momo and Momo.
What about Little Bridges?
Oh, Little Britches ain't gonna go
Shit.
nowhere.
Go ahead, sit down.
Little Britches.
I got one thing I do want to say, but I don't want